Good morning to all of you. The participants who are participating, I could see the number 261. Most respected Professor Balraj Chauhan sir, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the MIT University, JP Yadav Chandola, Tapan Chandola, and all the persons from the organizing team. I'm very, very thankful to all of you for giving me this platform to share my views on the very relevant topic in today's scenario, that is contemporary dimensional changes in the law with reference to COVID-19. So yesterday, the guidelines were issued and a report was issued by the ICMR, that is Indian Council of Medical Research, that due to early lockdown in India, the peak period is to come in somewhere mid of November. And there is no lockdown since 31st May, and we are all unlocked since 1st June. So from 1st June, we can say that this is the second wave of the corona affected lifestyle without any lockdown. So we are not having any restrictions because restrictions have been lifted, directions are issued, and most importantly, we can say that corona is still present in the community. So directions are such that are very, very rich to be performed. In a country like India, where we can say that the people are homeless, and there is a direction of social distancing. The people, they are residing in jogis, jopdis, they are not having the sufficient place to live in, and they are being said that a social distancing has to be performed. Then the second thing which is related to this corona, that is a complete lack of even potable water to a maximum number of the people in the country, and the direction is that we have to wash our hands after every reasonable period, that is half an hour, we have to wash our hands. Then the third thing is that when there is no money and we have to fight against hunger, the people are going to be jobless, there is no employment for them, and we have to perform another requirement, another direction, that is to wear the mask and to have the sanitizers. So these are the requirements in a country like India, where the homelessness, joblessness, and other things, the poverty, and so many things are involved. And in that situation, we have to follow this situation, we have to follow these directions, and we can say properly that we are unlocked now. So now corona is existing in the community, but there is no lockdown. Now, in this situation, I could find that there are two issues on which we have to discuss on this contemporary changes or contemporary dimensions of the law with respect to COVID-19. That is public health, number one, and the effect of the lockdown. And both are connected to somehow with the human rights concern. So human rights are affected, we all know. And coronavirus, that means new rights issues, and that demand our attention also. COVID-19 has also amplified rights, that is, we can say, how to ensure the access to justice, how to ensure the equality, education, and then employment and livelihood. So these are the issues in which we have to see that whether this lockdown or unlocking ourselves to the guidance or directions of the government, how to go about this issue of the human rights because of this lockdown and the human rights issues. Then how to protect the medical officers or doctors and the care workers. Then how to secure the privacy when tracking to the COVID-19 infections, like Arog Setu and so many other apps are also there being developed for this purpose. Then if we see that there are other issues related to the human rights, which are we can say aftermath or effect of this corona lockdown, that is the failure to protect the older persons and the social care systems. Then there are issues of the domestic violence survivors, and the impact on the children of the domestic violence. and that the domestic violence is there in the houses, and the parents, in between parents and the children who are residing with them. So there is an impact on the children also of that domestic violence. Then another issue related to this human rights, that is the vulnerable groups. So vulnerable groups on the basis of the age, it may be the children, it may be the senior persons or aged persons. On the basis of the gender, it may be on the basis that is women, or as well as the sexual minorities, the persons or the groups belonging to the LGBT. Then on the basis of the bodily infirmity or some of the disease that related to this HIV AIDS patients are there, disabled persons are there, and then the on the basis of the social structure also, as we find in India, that is SC/ST groups and the other minorities groups. So these are the groups who are also facing some of the discrimination because of the lockdown, because of the various impacts which we are facing in this corona call, we can say. Then the children who are, we can say, deprived of the midday meals, and during this COVID-19, we all know that the educational institutions have been closed down, and there is a school closure, so midday meal is not made available to those persons. Similarly, the women that in the Anganwadi, they are also not getting proper food. In that scenario, what we have to do, that is one of the important issue on which we have to discuss. And then there are issues related to the women also, that is the women who are staying at home. So there are related issues, for example, for pregnant women, the women choice for the reproduction. Whether they can go out from the home or not. So certain issues are related to these things also. So do we see that there is any need to redefine the categories of the vulnerable groups also? As I told you, that this is on the basis of the age, social structure, bodily infirmity, and other constructs also, migrant laborers and refugees. At international fora, we can see all these things, because these migrants are being returned back to India also. So what is the problem in that scenario? Do we need to redefine this vulnerable group on the basis of the human rights issues that we have to see? And secondly is that the persons who are involved or who are there in the healthcare services, and they are not being trained, or they are not trained, they do not know how to do the waste disposal of the wastage. And in this corona situation, the dead bodies disposal of the corona affected patient, so how to go about these things, whether they would be put under that category or not, this we have to discuss about. Then another category is that of the agricultural labors. And in that agricultural labors, we find that the persons who are closely connected with the food supply chain, they may be the persons who may supply the seeds, they may supply the stock, they may supply the equipment, they can supply the fertilizers, pesticides, or similar items to produce for the use in agricultural and fishing, aquaculture. So all these persons, they need a special protection in this period of the COVID. And then some other issues related to lockdown is that many people whose number is increased in the metro, homelessness, unemployment, livelihood, or we can say the basic needs of the life, which includes food, which includes shelter, which include clothing. So all these things are related issues of the lockdown. Then organized sectors and unorganized sectors. So organized sectors, we can have certain rules, but for unorganized sectors, the domestic helps and other things. So for that purpose, we have to look as to what we can do. Then we all know that our national economy is also going down. And another point which is related to this economy is that related to contracts, that we are not able to perform the contract, or there is a failure of performing the contractual liabilities. So we are thinking about the force measure, which is not available directly in the Indian Contract Act, but these are the issues on which we have to think with reference to the legal position in this corona impacted, we can say, time. then the right to information, if I say that there are certain acts in India which from which we can have the time bound remedy. So if there is a time bound remedy, so what is the effect of this corona, this lockdown period? So not only the right to information, but other laws also, like sexual harassment. So what has to be done in that reference, we have to look into while going through the modification, amendment, or changes in the law because of this COVID-19. So we know that at some point this COVID-19 will no longer be a public health emergency as it is today. And when that moment will come, then we must be ready to tackle the other human rights challenges which may be an outcome of the COVID-19, because we are not perceiving to that or we are not foreseeing those things presently, but they may be the outcome of that situation when there would not be a public health emergency at that time, when there will be no COVID-19 in existence. So we have to look as to what are the international laws or international provisions relating to health, and what are the national provisions or which are existing, or what else is required. So in this system, we have to see that what are the international laws or international provisions. So we all know that WHO, World Health Organization, is the leader for maintaining the public health, and the World Health Constitution provides for the WHO, that is World Health Assembly, then Secretariat, then their board, executive board. So they are all working in that direction, and we are having the advisories and directions from the World Health Organization every day, specifically for women, for children, for disabled, and otherwise also. And then we also see that what is to be done in that respect, that the guidelines are being issued or directions are being issued by the International Health Regulation of 2005. And in that 2005 regulation, Article 5, 6, 7, that are very important. And day before yesterday, another direction, which another news item which was there on their website of the WHO, that there is no need to worry about from the symptomatic person or corona affected persons, because that is not to further we can say spread the disease. So these are the things. And as I told you that we are in the second wave of this corona or COVID-19 issue. The chief scientist of the WHO, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, as she was telling that we are in the process of developing the vaccine. So the things are unknown to us, so many things. We don't have the medicines or vaccine. We don't know as to where from this virus came, and what is the other things related to the virus, how it is affecting the person. So there are various issues on which we have to think about. So international health regulations of 2005, that is there, and we are fighting against the unknown things, the unknown virus, the origin is unknown, the symptoms are unknown, there is no vaccine. Solution is the vaccine. And as the scientist says that it will take minimum 3 years to 5 years, or some says from 10 years to 20 years. And the thing is that if that vaccine has to be developed, then that vaccine must be very safe. That vaccine that is to protect the person, that should not have any side effects. So all these things, it will take a long time. And the speed of the spread of corona, as we are witnessing, that is now considered to be the omnipresent. Everywhere it is there, and we can have it from the drops, we can have it from the aerosols. So so many things are there. So in that situation, international law is there, the WHO's guidelines are there relating to this public health emergency of international concern. Then we have also the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Article 12, which speaks about the right to health specifically. So after that, in India, when we learn to India, then we see that we have the supreme law of the land, that is the Constitution. And the Constitution, in its very preamble, provides for the equality and dignity. So in that situation of the lockdown, and after that lockdown, after when we are now unlocked, So in that situation, we find that where is the dignity of the common man? They are not getting the employment, they are not getting the food. So where is the dignity and what type of equality we are talking about? So the preamble issues are there. Then we have the fundamental rights to move anywhere, to settle anywhere. Article 19(1)(d) provides for that. And we see that our internal laborers, they are being termed or designated as the migrant laborers. So in that situation, if the constitution fundamental rights allow every citizen to move and to settle anywhere in the country, subject of course to some of the reasonable restrictions like some STs, colonies, or the places where the scheduled tribes are there, then the settlement is not to be there. So in that situation, we have to see that whether these fundamental rights are being properly exercised or being allowed to the persons in that situation or not. Then we have the fundamental duties also. So without duties, we cannot say that we have to enjoy the rights and rights only. There are duties also, and particularly 51A clause D, we see that speaks about the national services. So what services we are doing? Yesterday I was going through one of the news item, rather today in the newspaper, that the Supreme Court Bar Association that has asked for some of the contribution of the funds from the advocates who are earning so much money, for those advocates who are not having that much money, so that in this hard situation or in this difficult situation of corona, they may be given certain amount so that they may exercise or they may fulfill their life necessities. And there was no one to contribute to that fund. So national service, the duties, what are our duties that we have to see? We have to be compassionate towards not only the animal environment but to the persons also. So these are the duties which are mentioned in part 4A of the constitution. And besides that, we have the provision in 7th schedule of the constitution. That 7th schedule of the constitution speaks about the distribution of powers, distribution of legislative powers between union, state, and concurrent lists. There are 3 lists. So in list 1, that is related to the union list, entry or item 81, that speaks about the making of the laws regarding interstate migrants and interstate quarantine. So laws are to be made, and that is the power of the parliament to enact the law. So we don't have that law enacted on this quarantine. The second thing is there under second in the list 2, that is state list. Then entry 6 is there in the state list. That speaks about the public health and sanitation, hospitals and dispensaries. So we all know the reality as to how much hospitals we have, what are the status of the dispensaries, and what is the position of the ventilators, what is the position of the other situations, the persons they are lying on the road and there is no beds in the hospitals. So the state has this responsibility to enact on this entry 6 under second list of the 7th schedule. But where is the law? We have to see in that respect also. Then the third list, that is concurrent list, that also under entry 29 speaks about the we can say prevention of the extension from one state to another state, the infectious disease or contagious disease. The law has to be made. So we don't find any law in this respect also, which is there since 1950 in the Constitution 7th schedule. Then besides that, what we have the vintage law, that is of Epidemic Disease Act of 1897, that was enacted by a foreign parliament at that time, though we were in the slavery of, we can say, of the Britishers. India was a colony, so at that time this law was enacted. And very recently on 22nd April 2020, we find that this law has been amended and the ordinance has been passed by the president on this epidemic disease ordinance of 2020, which speaks about making certain stringent provisions for the purpose of the penalty punishment for those persons who are considered to be the miscreants or the persons who are injuring the health warriors, doctors and nurses, the persons who are also damaging and destroying the property that is the hospitals, the places where they were being quarantined. So to meet out this situation, the law was, we can say, amended duly, and 22nd April was the day when this ordinance was promulgated. And we know that the amendment has been made in this existing law of 1897. Besides that, we have the Disaster Management Act also of 2005, under which there are provisions relating to the national, we can say, national authorities and the state authorities, district authorities. They all have to take care. So when the pandemic is one, when the epidemic is one, when it is when it is related to the entire country at one space, then how these three authorities are taking decision, we see that the district authorities are taking different decisions, in other districts they are taking different decisions. So there must be some similarity or uniformity, or for the purpose of the persons who are really, we can say, in the clutches of this corona. Then we have the provisions in the Indian Penal Code also. We all know section 188 is there regarding public servant, the orders which are given, that has to be obeyed. And then 269 to 272, the provisions are there. Then fake news are there regarding the corona. So we have section 505 in the IPC also. And I'll not be going into deep in this criminal law, because the expert of the criminal law is with us, Professor Balraj Chauhan sir. But these are certain provisions where we find that we can tackle the this situation of the corona. Then criminal procedure code section 144 also provides for that. Besides this, there are various directions issued, various advisories are being issued by the government every time, how to go about the things. Then the Supreme Court is also taking sumo directions and on public interest litigations relating to various issues which are, we can say, really of very, very important, whether it be the case of the video conferencing, it may be related to the release of the prisoners on bail, interim bail, or on parole. It may be related to the protection of the children in protection houses, or the women in the shelter houses. It may be related to the migrant laborers. It may be related to the other issues also. And at the same time, the Supreme Court is also imposing penalties, or we find also that the persons who are now coming to the Supreme Court just in order to get publicity. So I have gone through two cases in which one Shamshad Qureshi and other is Prashant Kumar. Shamshad Qureshi, that the social distancing term is not a proper term, it should be self-isolation, because social distancing is just creating the discrimination in the society, and we have come out from that social distancing. So we have to go back to see Article 17 of the Constitution, untouchability. So it is to be used in that respect, and physical distance or the social isolation. So court said that this is not the way, and imposed 10,000 rupees fine on Shamshad Qureshi. Then we find another case of this Prashant Kumar, that Prashant Kumar versus Union of India, where the case was filed before the Supreme Court that the sale of wine is to be stopped. The direction has to be issued. So the court imposed rupees 1 lakh as fine, that these type of the cases are not to be brought before the Supreme Court. So in this situation, the Supreme Court is also taking lead for the purpose of the giving some of the, we can say, directions in this corona situation. Then we could have one of the special law, that is that remained only to be a bill, that is Public Health Prevention, Control and Management of Epidemics, Bioterrorism and Disaster Bill 2017. Now this bill could not be passed, and we don't have this as an act. This bill is consisting of 14 sections and 2 schedules. The 14 sections in 5 chapters that provides for various definitions, including epidemic, social distancing, quarantine, and other things related to this public health. Then the second thing is that the public measures what have to be taken, those are all given under this bill of 2017 by the state governments, by the districts, by the central government. What steps or what measures are to be taken, that is given under there. Then we see that the penalty provisions, the appeal provisions, and miscellaneous provisions were also there in these 5 chapters of 14 sections. And Section 14 provides for the this repeal of this Epidemic Disease Act of 1897. Then there are two schedules also in that bill of 2017, which speaks about the items or we can say diseases which are prone to be epidemic diseases. And out of those 35 diseases, 33 have been named like cholera, plague, influenza, avian influenza and others. And at the same time, 34th and 35th entry of this first schedule is all other diseases, all other epidemics which are of the public health emergency of international concern. And 35th entry of that schedule first, that was related to any other epidemic which may be notified as the public emergency. So this schedule 1, that is the related to this we can say the diseases what may be called as the epidemic or what may be we can say termed as the pandemic, that was there in the schedule 1 of this public health bill of 2017. So, the second schedule is also very important, which speaks about the various bioterrorism. That is, whether these epidemics or whether these diseases are the result or as we can say agent of this bacteria, or it is the result of the fungi, it is the result of the toxins, it is the result of any other things. And that includes the genetics and engineering or genetic engineer. So still, as we know that we are not knowing as to whether this virus, this coronavirus or novel corona 2, that is the natural outcome or that is something which is engineered in some of the virology lab. As we all know, it has been first found in Wuhan, Hubei, that is the capital of Hubei and in China. So after that, we have to see that we are not able to have this act passed till now. And after that, what we have to do, that is very important. And in that situation, we see that our existing laws, where we have to make certain changes, that is very much required. So in that scenario, we need that there must be a comprehensive law, or we have a compendium of the existing laws which may be modified and amended reasonably, be it the contract, company or employment related laws. It may be the evidence which includes DNA, then expert opinion, then criminal laws, then prisoners laws, and then besides that we have to change certain, we have to make certain modifications in the environmental laws, and then health laws, and particularly the mental health laws, and the health training is to be given to the health personnel also. We have just an example of yesterday's suicide that has been committed by one of the actor starrer Sushant Singh Rajput. So this mental health training is also very important, where we have to make the changes. Then relating to the labor laws, we have to make certain amendments. Then occupational health and safety of the workers in the industries, as to how to go about those things. Then regarding biomedical waste and chemical weapons, then bioterrorism, virus sovereignty. So these are the issues. Virus sovereignty is also, we can say, in vogue now. Firstly, it was used by Boston in his book Global Health Law, and after that it is being used. That was the term which was initiated in 2009 when this Indonesia that was working on the H5N1, and that virus identity was not being given to this WHO. So in that respect, we need to change this laws also. Then relating to the women laws, whether it be the Domestic Violence Act, because we know that during this lockdown period, the cases of the domestic violence have been increased. There is a report from the Women Commission, National Women Commission, that the number of cases are on the higher side, and that too from those women who are having or the access to the internet, who are having the access to this electronic media, and only those women could file their cases or complaint before the National Women Commission. Otherwise, due to the lockdown, the postal services or otherwise the women who are not aware or who do not know as to whether there is any commission, so the complaints are still to come. So domestic violence is also on the increase. Then in cases of the PNDT, we need to have certain modifications because of this corona. Then surrogacy, child laws, then juvenile and aged, sexual minority, and other vulnerable groups. We need a change in this all respect. Then what modifications are required, that we have to think about in the public distribution system, PDS system. We all know that now we have the policy at the central level, one nation, one ration card. But prior to that, if you don't have the ration card of a particular state or a city or district, you cannot have that this ration. So this PDS system requires to be changed. Then food safety, food adulteration, nutrition are the issues related to this which require a modification, along with the essential commodities and consumer laws. We all know that how the black marketing started of this masks and sanitizers, when these were the things which were said to be a compulsory for all the persons because to save or to stop the spread of the corona. So essential commodities and consumer laws also require to be changed. Then regarding education, we are all facing this closure of the educational institutions, and we are all virtually talking to each other. So in that educational laws, UGC has to come out with the modification in the laws relating to these other, we can say, regulatory bodies, whether it be ICT, BCI, NCI, PCI, whatever regulatory bodies are there, they have to come with a certain modifications to meet out the situation. And then relating to the fertilizers, forestry and wildlife also, there was one news item that one of the cat is found corona affected. So in that situation, what to do in to contain this spread of this coronavirus, we have to see law related to this tobacco, smoking, then alcohol, drug addiction, cosmetics, medicines. All these laws need to be modified with reference to this corona. Then privacy, that is one of the fundamental right, as has been interpreted by the Supreme Court in case, the Swami case, in Article 21. It's an extension of right to life and personal liberty. So how to meet these things, the data privacy and all these things, the code of ethics is to be seen, because we are all said that we have to have this Arog Setu in our mobile phones and to meet this situation. So whether this privacy issues would be there or not. So in that respect, we have to see. Then there are certain, we can say, modifications are also required in the medical services or in ICMR or doctors. We all know that there was a news, and we all, that these doctors who were just studying the PG and all this, they were all appointed because we have the scarcity of the doctors to meet out the situation, to take the care of the patient, because the patient's number was increasing, the doctor's number was not up to the mark. So those who are studying for the degree of this doctor, they were all appointed. So in that situation, we have to make certain amendments in the existing laws also, that for the emergency registrations of the doctors, nurses, then paramedics and other health and care professionals. We have also to have the changes in the emergency registrations of the pharmaceuticals, the chemist, and the extension for prescribing the powers also. Then temporary registration should also be of the emergencies involving the loss of the human life and the human illness. We have to make certain changes, though on the emergency basis. Then these modifications in the employment rights we have to see regarding contract of employment, employed, employee, employer, then employment, workers. So all these we have to see in terms of the force measure also, because we have a section 56 and 65 of Indian Contract Act, which speaks about the doctrine of frustration. So whether we have to, we can say, enlarge that doctrine, or we have to incorporate these measures also to deal with the situation. Then emergency registration of the social workers also, emergency registration of the emergency volunteers also, they can do help. So, and they may be paid the compensation for their words also. So we need the changes in this existing situation. Then the powers and duties of the local authorities, they have now the constitutional status by 73rd and 74th Amendment. So village panchayats, Gram Sabha and all these municipal corporations, they have to be, we can say, given certain duties and powers as to how to go about these things. And regarding this registration of deaths, registration of stillbirths, then information concerning deaths, and information regarding the burial and cremation of the dead bodies. We also have a news item, and a judgment was given by the Delhi High Court. The persons who were lying on the roads, the persons, they were there in the mortuary and they were not being cremated, they were not being given, handed over to their, we can say, family members. They were all lying there, the dead bodies were lying there. So how to go about these things, the authority, whether it be a burial authority or the district authority, they have to be given the directions as to how to do the things in a dignified manner. This is also very much required. The collection of ashes of the person concerned who have been died because of the corona. So we have to look into these matters also. And in that respect, again, we have to see the transportation and the storage. We all are aware that in New York, you see that there is no ground for the for burial. And this Delhi case, as I told you. So how to transport or how to take the storage of the disposal of these dead bodies, we have to take care of these things, and maintaining, of course, their human rights to dignity. Then regarding temporary closures of the educational institutions and children premises, we have to give a proper training, because we know that online classes are there. Though it is because of some of the directions of the UGC in that respect for higher educational institutions, but the classes from the nursery, primary and other, we can say from the very beginning, they all started taking online classes. And Karnataka has issued a complete ban on this online classes from nursery to class 5th. So in that situation, how to go about this online classes, this is number one. Whether all the persons are in access of this online classes, this is number two. And we have another news item wherein 9 girls have committed suicide because they were not having the device on which they could have the online lectures from their teacher. So in that situation, because India is a country which is full of diversity, and in that diverse situation, when everybody is not equally, we can say, placed, they are not having the devices to go through as to online classes. And in that situation, the girls are committing suicide. So how to go about these things, whether we have to improve the situation of this online or the internet facilities which may be made available to all the persons, this is also very, very important. Then another thing is that the directions are to be given by the district authorities relating to the prohibition of the otherwise or gathering on public premises or at their residences also. Day before yesterday, there was a news that in Nagpur, after this lockdown was over, a person has floated a party at his home where 70 persons attended that party, and because of that party there was the corona. They all infected with that corona and they spread in the society. So now 700 persons are in quarantine. So in that situation, we have to see that the declaration of this threat to public health in a state, district or area due to coronavirus, and power to close the premises or to impose restriction, then we have to see all these things. And in the matters of the court proceedings, another point we have to see that these links are to be provided because the hearings are to be a public hearing to all the person concerned, whether it be criminal proceeding, it may be other legal proceedings, except in camera proceedings. So links are to be there because of this corona, we can say, findings, video conferencing are there. Then we can go for the postponement of elections because we are seeing that online or virtual rallies are going on. So what is the use of all these things? So we can stop these things and we can claim some more contributions from the general insurance companies. and we can assist the industries financially. The residential tenancies and the protection from eviction, we have to work upon that also, because we know that many persons are being evicted from their homes because they are not able to give them the rent of that house. So in that situation, we have to work upon on this situation. So finally, we need a comprehensive law, because we are all sailing on the same boat, and we have to come out of this situation in a country governed by rule of law. And for that, we need a comprehensive law, or the parliament, the bill which has been introduced in 2017, public health, with various other incorporations, we can come out with a comprehensive law or a comprehensive directory on the corona or COVID issues, or for that purpose, it may be the epidemic laws in that comprehensive law, so that we can meet this difficult situation of corona with easy access to have all the laws at one place in that compendium or in that law, as we are having that law is also enacted in UK. On 25th March 2020, they have enacted this law on the epidemics and coronavirus 2020 to meet out the situation. Other European countries have also come out with this comprehensive law. So the need of the time is that if we want to come out this situation, because as I told you in the beginning of my talk, that ICMR is saying that in mid-November there would be a peak of corona or COVID-19. So we have sufficient time, and we can come out with a comprehensive law to meet these new dimensions of, we can say, which are contemporary in nature, and to save ourselves, to save our fellow citizens, to save the country from this epidemic of corona. Thank you very much.